Hello everybody and welcome to Morzak EV. So it's been 2 years since we bought the Tesla, and in that time a lot of things have changed. The business has grown. Electric vehicles have gone from being an obscure, off-the-wall niche thing that only the fanatics are talking about to quite a mainstream thing as energy prices have increased, petrol prices have increased, and people have got an eye on the future in terms of reducing their carbon emissions. So after 2 years of owning the Tesla Model 3 and the Model 3 still being on sale and still being one of the most popular electric vehicles in the UK, I wondered, is it still a good purchase? Would we have done the same thing looking back? And would we still go for the Tesla Model 3 if we were buying a brand new vehicle now? And with that in mind, I'm going to go over 6 things we love and 6 things we hate about this car. Roll the credits. Welcome to Morzak EV, a channel dedicated to all things electric vehicles, electric vehicle charging and all related technologies. So before I crack on with the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to get notifications of our future videos. Check out our other social media channels, and if you are thinking of getting an EV or you've got an EV and you're thinking of changing energy suppliers for a better deal, make sure you check out our Octopus referral code. Octopus offers some great, interesting tariffs with cheap night rates, agile tariffs. All of these can suit EV drivers a lot. If you use our Octopus referral link, which is in the description below or the card above, you'll get £50 credit on your Octopus referral count. We get £50 credit as well, for full disclosure, but it's a great deal and they're a great company. Check out their reviews online, especially for anybody with renewables. So I'm going to go straight into the 6 things that we love and 6 things that we hate about the Tesla Model 3. So number 1 on the list of things we love is the app and the over-the-air updates. So the connectivity. The app is excellent. There's a ton of things you can do, from opening and closing the charging port, turning on things like the climate control. It's really easy to send directions from your phone, from something like Google Maps, to the app, which sends it to the car. So if you're going on a journey, you can send it to the satellite navigation before you even get in the vehicle. So stuff like that is so good. There's tons of features on the app, from buying upgrades for your vehicle. You can get your charger stats. You can see where the car is at any time. So yeah, if somebody else is in your car and you want to know where they are, you can check out the location. You can schedule your charging and things like that, but obviously we would recommend doing that through a proper charge point installed by a professional. You can even do things like opening the boot or the trunk and the frunk, locking and unlocking the vehicle. So if somebody runs back to the car, they haven't got access, they haven't got a key card or the phone to let them in, you can unlock the car from to get something out. Another excellent feature is the fact that you can get rid of your key card altogether and use the phone as your key. We very rarely take the Tesla key cards themselves with us anywhere. We just use our phone for entry and exit to the vehicle, and then as soon as you walk away from the vehicle, it locks itself, so you don't even have to think about locking the vehicle. So it's super intuitive, super great to use. And then the over-the-air updates, every month or two you'll get an update on the vehicle. It happens fairly straightforward, especially if you can connect the car to Wi-Fi when it's at your home. And then there's always nice little surprises. So one of the little surprises recently was that when we hit the indicators, we now get a little blind spot camera showing you looking into your blind spot before you pull over. That wasn't in place originally, but it's been introduced in an over-the-air update. So it's one of the few vehicles that just gets better and better the more you own it. So yeah, kudos to Tesla for doing these free over-the-air updates. and the software. You can tell it's a Silicon Valley based company because their experience with apps and the interface is just unparalleled. And when you get into other vehicles, you wonder why the sat navs are so bad when things like iPhones and Android are so intuitive to use. It's where the traditional automotive manufacturers really let themselves down. Closely linked to that is the second thing we love, which is the infotainment system and the speaker system. So when you're on the move, you have DAB radio, you have the Spotify connectivity, and everything just works so intuitively and so seamlessly. You have a volume button on your steering wheel, and you can change up and down radio channels, move up and down tracks on Spotify. As you push the button, and you can tell it to play a particular song, it'll start playing, or a particular band, it'll just start playing. It's so easy to use, and it just works well. It's so smooth, so intuitive. And then the speaker system in here is excellent. The quality of the sound is brilliant. It's one of the best infotainment systems I've ever seen on a vehicle. And then when you pull over and you're parked up, let's say you're waiting for somebody, you're bored, you can go into the infotainment system and start playing videos. You can play, if you've got a Netflix subscription, you can play films on Netflix, and you can watch things like YouTube. So if you have to stay in the car the night, you'll never get bored. Again, these are probably things you've seen. It's been talked about a ton, but in day-to-day use, it's not just a novelty. They really have come in handy at times. So yeah, we've been really pleased with it. So number 3 on the list of things we love is the overall driving experience and the autopilot. I've lumped them both together because it all forms part of the same thing. But the car it's super smooth, especially when you put it in chill mode. It's nice and gentle to drive, but it's got more than enough power to get you out of any situation, again, even in chill mode. If you want to have some fun, you put it in the normal mode, put your foot down, and it'll, it really goes. But there's very little drama, very little scariness. It can go really fast. It drives nice. It's not a sort of proper sports car or like a driver's vehicle, really. It's too heavy for that. It's a little bit too cumbersome, but for a saloon, an everyday driving saloon, it does pretty much everything you need. It always puts a smile on my face driving it, whether that's a short journey or a long journey. And then when you do hit the motorways and it's super boring, you can double click the stalk and it goes into its autopilot, which works really well, apart from one thing which we're going to mention on the things we hate list. But everything else, it just works nicely. It goes at your speed that you want to go to, and then when you pull up against a car in front, it'll adjust to that car's speed, and you can even set how close you want to get to that vehicle in front. So yeah, you can tweak it to suit your driving needs and driving style, but overall it's just it's one of the best cars I've ever owned. Number 4 on the list is the speed of the car and the efficiency of the vehicle. So unlike when you have a sort of internal combustion engine vehicle, that you either have something that's fast or something that's economical, the Tesla is the best of both worlds, and it's still one of the market leaders. So yeah, it's still one of the fastest cars on the market. However, it's also one of the most efficient cars. We can regularly, on long runs, get more than 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good. If you look up at what other vehicles are doing in real world situations, it's efficient for your kilowatts that you're putting in. And as energy prices increase, that type of efficiency will become more and more important to people. So the same way that petrol cars became it became more and more important to get better miles per gallon. So yeah, it's they're one of the market leaders, along with Kia, Hyundai, and then some of these sort of super efficient manufacturers coming along. But I think that again, there's a lot that traditional automotive manufacturers can learn from the efficiency of the Teslas, alongside things like the speed that and the acceleration that I have when you need it. So I know this is one of those Marmite things. People love them, people hate them. But number 5 on our list of things we love is how the car looks. Yeah, we really like the headlights, some of the smoother shapes. They're definitely recognisable compared to other cars on the road. And yeah, there's some crazy designs coming out, there's some boring designs coming out, some stuff that I think will date badly. I think this will date okay. It's not the best looking car, but it's got, you know, it's got certain features that I really like, and as a saloon, I think it's still one of the nicer looking vehicles on the market. And yeah, we're proud to own one, so having that little bit, the fact that it does stand out as a Tesla, we're quite pleased with that. Yeah, again, like I say, it's one of those Marmite things. There'll be some people that love it, some people that hate it, and they'll totally disagree with me, but we've always liked the way they look. And 2 years down the line, we're still really happy with that. So that's on our list of things we love. Number 6 on the list of things we love is a simple one, and that is the Frunk. So the Frunk, might seem like an odd thing for us to pick, but it's actually really useful. We use it for storing our charging cables, our granny cable, and any other bits and pieces. There's the hazard kit, or your breakdown warning kit, if you like, with the warning triangle and high-vis vest. That's in here. So those little bits that kind of lay in your boot and get in the way, we keep in the Frunk, and that leaves the trunk or boot totally free for whatever you want to store in there. It's a decent sized boot as well, but the Frunk really adds to that capacity. And the worst thing about having charging cables in your boot, if you don't have a Frunk, is the fact that, you know, the one time you'll need to get something out is when you've got a load of stuff in there, a load of shopping or something, and you know it's under the shelf, and you have to lift that up and get everything out, lift it up to get to it. This just means you've got a place to store some things which are readily accessible that you don't get to that often. Some people find it a bit of a pain because you have to use either the app or release the Frunk in the car. There's no physical button to open it on the outside of the vehicle. So again, it's things we don't use that often, like the charging cables. We know they're in there. If we do need them, we can get to them easily. And yeah, and they're nice and secure. So now we're getting on to the things that I hate, and number 1 on the list, and what really grinds my gears with the Model 3, are these door sills. They stick up a little bit too much, and they're just a little bit too wide. So when you're getting in, you often catch your feet on this bit of plastic at the top here, and over time it's started to scuff and scratch in a way that's going to be difficult to hide or remove. And I've looked in other people's vehicles, very much the same, so it's not just something I'm doing. It's a bit frustrating, a bit annoying. Yeah, the shape of the chassis is as it is, for particular design reasons, for this skateboard type design, and to keep the seating position nice and low. However, I feel like this could have been better protected. Hopefully we'll see, you know, on the next Tesla designs, that will be picked up on and improved upon. Number 2 is phantom braking. Now, some of you might have heard of the phenomenon of phantom braking in Teslas. They're quite famous for it. This isn't something we've got on camera, but basically when you're driving down the motorway and you've got your autopilot on, or you've got just this cruise control on, sometimes the Tesla can think that another vehicle is about to cut across you or cut you up, and it doesn't brake hard, but it lets off the throttle and puts on full regen, and it feels, if you're not expecting it, it feels very sudden, very unexpected, and can be a little bit scary. Most of the time it causes you to either hit the brakes, grab onto the wheel because you're not sure what's going on, and you can get one of those twitchy moments. So it's something that I know Tesla is working on all the time. Obviously they're treading a fine line between the car being cautious enough that it will react during one of those real situations, but it won't act when it doesn't need to. So if it's something that really bothers you, then you probably won't want to use the autopilot because of this phantom braking issue, which has reduced over the years but does still happen, especially in sort of that twilight or sort of dawn lighting, and if it's sort of overcast, drizzly conditions like that, that's when it's at its worst. So number 3 on the list of things we don't like is the general build quality. I've put panel gaps down on my list, although I think we were pretty lucky. There's very little in terms of panel issues on ours. There were a couple of things that we asked to be tweaked when we got it, but I know there was a lot of vehicles around the same time that had some pretty iffy issues. A lot of them did get sorted, some of them didn't, and people weren't happy with Tesla customer service. I think it was a bit of a roll of the dice, but yeah, generally speaking, the car just isn't great quality. It's a bit hard to put your finger on it, but if you get into a BMW or a Mercedes or another car around the same sort of price bracket as this, you find that the build quality and just the design quality isn't the same. Again, it's hard to explain, but the sound of the doors shutting, it's not like a BMW or a Mercedes or even a VW. So yeah, things are a little bit creaky and teeny inside, and for a car of this price range, that can do better, and I'm sure they will do better, but you are, with some of the advantages, you are sacrificing in other areas. This is sort of thing that some people have said, there's no way I can put up with that. For us, it hasn't been a major issue. It's just something we had to accept. We knew we were getting when we bought this car, but bear that in mind, that it is a Tesla and you're getting Tesla build quality and the feel of the car, if you like. So number 4 on the list of things we hate about the Tesla Model 3 is the water on the back windscreen. So obviously there's a nice sloping profile on this back windscreen, all works very nicely, except for when it's been raining, or especially when it's been snowing, you've got a lot of water on the lid here and on the back window. You open the boot and all of a sudden all the water comes off the windscreen and off the top here down and falls straight into the boot. Again, lots of people have mentioned this previously. We put a boot liner in here so it does catch the water and keep it dry. However, it can be a real pain if you've got shopping in here and all of a sudden you forget that, open the boot, and it all gets drowned. So yeah, it's a first world problem, but it is an annoyance on a car. You can get some aftermarket solutions where there's adds a bit of a lip and it diverts the water off down these channels. However, they also renowned for causing wind noise and things like that. It's just one of those things that you either decide to put up with or do something about, and so which is going to annoy you less. But yeah, it is quite annoying at times. So although this is number 5 on the list of things we hate about the Tesla, this is probably the thing that does my head in the most, and it's the quality of the paint on the vehicle, and really its toughness and its resistance to impacts. So yeah, compared to any other car we've owned, it seems to stone chip super easy. I think the paint is thin and brittle, and yeah, it's super frustrating. It doesn't take a lot to go right through the paint, and although we've got the white one, so the undercoat is also white, and chips don't stand out as much. It's really frustrating. Again, it's a common, well-known issue, but it's something you've got to bear in mind when you're buying one. And also, you know, if you're looking at one second-hand, you're going to have to go over it and have a look what stone chips it's got, and whether that's going to bother you, or whether you're going to need to get them done. Yeah, it's very frustrating at times. I've no idea where they came from, and they're just too many for a car that's we've only owned for 2 years, and has only done this many miles. So paint, I think it's the biggest area for improvement with Tesla. So number 6 on the list of things we hate about the Tesla Model 3 are the wipers. So the wipers have a mind of their own. It'll be a hot, dry, sunny day, and they'll start going for no reason whatsoever. If you wash your windscreen, they'll seem to keep going on and off for half an hour, and then sometimes it'll be raining and they won't start up at all. You can sort of control them manually, but it's not as simple as in most other vehicles, because you have to do it through the menu system. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating at times, but yeah, it's one of those quirks of owning a Tesla Model 3. So with all that praise and then all that moaning, would we buy a Tesla Model 3 again? Well, going back to when we did buy it, we wanted to go electric. We needed a vehicle that would do sort of longer journeys. I think this was still the only choice that we had at the time. Having bought it, would we buy the same vehicle today? I think, yeah, we would. There's a lot of other options out there. We don't like SUVs, so if you discount all the SUVs, I don't particularly like the offerings from Hyundai, Kia. Don't like the Polestar that much. It's a personal preference. So yeah, there's still not a huge amount of options. We quite like the ID.3 as a vehicle, but I don't think even the long range offers the same levels of performance and efficiency that this does. And if you couple that with the Tesla charging network, I think this is still a no-brainer for people who are doing long distance journeys on business, have the need to charge up quickly now and again. So yeah, I think we still would go for this. If you're looking for an electric vehicle, you need to look at the options that yourself. Look at what your needs are, list your sort of the things that you must have, the things that you want, and then the things that you definitely couldn't put up with. And then you know there's a lot more offerings out there than when we bought this 2 years ago. But we're still really happy with the choice, and I think we'd still go with the same vehicle today. I'm really pleased with it still, and despite its quirks, yeah, we love it. Still one of the best cars that we've ever owned, and I would buy it again. So I hope that was useful. If it was, give us a cheeky thumbs up on that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications of our future videos. Make sure you check out our other social media channels. Check out our Octopus referral code for £50 credit on your Octopus account when you sign up. And in the meantime, thanks very much for watching.